Good morning. I am Michael Monasterio, and this is the third sermon in our series. It's called Now What? Are you going through stuff? Are you going through anything right now? I'm going through some stuff because at the early part of the spring, I had all these plans and desires, and God said, "Preach." I preached, and financially, things were like getting unbelievable. I had all these great plans, and I imagined I was just going to walk into these things, not like I didn't earn them, but it just seemed like they were all falling into place at once. And then none of them worked. None of them. Every single one of those ideas I had and plans I had just unraveled in front of me. And I was confident in doing the same thing I'm doing or was doing. And it just didn't happen. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you love somebody, doesn't love you back, or maybe somebody has issues that you can't surmount, or you're going through financial difficulties, or can't get a job, or keep a job, or hate the job you have. There's 100 things, thousands and thousands of things that can go wrong. That will change the plans that we've had because the problem is the thinking. In fact, the whole reason the Bible was written, I'll tell you that. Here's a bombshell. The children of Israel had lived in Egypt many years, many generations. They had been slaves. So they went from their own tribe, their own nation, to going to a country and becoming slaves for generations. So at this point, when Moses took them on an act of faith, act of trust, to leave where where you're comfortable, where you're going to be fed, into the wilderness, first to convince them to go, why they should go, and then once they went and they were out there, he had to write a blueprint, let's say, to become a nation, right? To become its own culture, to get out of the slave mentality, to let that old slave mentality die. In fact, he said it took 40 years to walk a 3-week circle. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Jesus was in vitro. They walked. They were on a camel or a mule, whatever they went on, and they went, and about took them 3 weeks, and they went to Egypt. So it's close. It's not a long walk. Yet everything they thought was true, everything they assumed in their slavery, in their slave mentality, every single thing was gone, which it had to go because it did not serve them as a people. Huh? How could you be God's chosen people if you're slaves? It doesn't make sense. So what he did when he wrote that book, the first 5 books of the Bible, was giving them history and giving them instructions and telling them how chosen they are, why they're chosen, how much God loves them, and what they have to do was very strict. The living was very strict for a reason, because as slaves, they had somebody telling them what to do. To tell you to be able to create a schedule by yourself, to be able to create order by yourself, you have to have a mindset that's created, that's built up like muscles. You have to train them. So he invented all these rules. The people did them. I mean, there were other reasons, but the idea that you're changing his mindset from slaves to a chosen people, to God's chosen people. Well, you're God's chosen people. And when things aren't going right, it's hard for me to believe I'm God's chosen people. Like, how is it I'm God's chosen people and I'm making this much money? Or how am I God's chosen people and I'm not working here? Or I'm not dressing like this? Or I'm not living here? Or these things don't come to me, that come to other people. How am I God's chosen people? How does that work? First of all, I want to say God's chosen people are the people that choose God. It's not about a race. It's not about a color. It's not about a class. It's not about even who's successful and who's not. Because I know many people that are very successful that are very unhappy. The idea that God's chosen people is a thought process, and a process that's physical. To choose God is not to sit down there and say, gosh, this didn't work, that didn't work, this didn't work, that didn't work. My life's a mess. My life's not the way I thought it would be. I'm so old. Listen, through that whole process, I never stopped walking. So I'm telling you, when your heart is breaking, Walk out. Walk good. Walk through it. They say walking through yes, walk through that fire. Do you know why? Because it's the process of walking through it is the faith to say, guess what? I don't care what's going on in front of me. I don't care what this whole circumstance is. I'm I am not a slave. I'm not a slave of my circumstances. I'm not a slave of the things in this world. I'm not a slave of my sex, my race, my finances. I'm not a slave to how other people view me. So I only love myself based on how you love me. I'm not a slave to any of that. I'm not a slave to my emotions. I'm not a slave to my negative thoughts. I'm the chosen. I am a beloved, chosen child of the Most High God. I am the chosen one. I'm the chosen people. I am. But the only way I can fulfill my mission and my destiny is I have to discipline myself to walk through those things and know that I'm walking through them. That's the whole purpose. It's not a purpose for the happy ever after. In fact, it never says if imagine if you went through life and you were the happy ever after, if you were the Pharaoh instead of the children of Israel. You would never left Egypt, would you? Why would you? You have all this money and all this food and all these things going for you, and you're adored and you have a kingdom. How would you grow? What do you need God for really? But when you're where we are and we're always being tested and um, we're always having to reaffirm our faith, right? We're always relying on God. We're always looking to God to keep us going, to keep us safe, to keep us. That constant is the covenant. The covenant is your God's chosen people. He chose us. We chose Him. We live in that divine space because that's way. No matter what happens, you're still living the life of the Christ. You're still inspired. You're still loved. You're still beautiful. You're still forgiven and forgiven. You still are. Every single thing that you desire is still there. Just stop thinking about the shackles and look up. All those Psalms. Oh, look up. Look up to the hills. They'd always say that. Or up in Mount Sinai where God lives. It's to look up. Not to look down at your circumstances. Look up to your divine nature. Come up to the joy that says no matter what's going on, I am the chosen people. Doesn't matter what is around you. To know that it's for you. This is for you. All of this is for you. You have to be prepared for it. And once you go through it, you have to be able to share with somebody else how possible it is. That I can sit here and every single thing I thought was going to happen didn't happen. And guess what? I'm not telling you I wasn't down about it or depressed about it or it didn't rock my faith because it does. It's not to stay there. It's to walk through it. There's the joy. There's the glory. There's the life of the Christ. Everywhere Jesus went in his ministry, he walked. They walked. It always says that. Oh, so they walked to here and they walked to there and they were on the road to this. All those things are not by accident. They're metaphors. Of course. All the all disappointments that you're going through, all these trials, just walk through them. Just understand that God loves you in those times, in all those times. When you're in the fire, you're always loved. And you're being built up, you're being trained, you're being developed for your absolute ministry. Your ultimate goal. You're choosing your divine nature. You're choosing God. Well, you can't represent God if you fall apart when any little thing happens. As times in our world become more challenging and the things we thought were familiar are changing, and maybe people see bad things on the horizon and some of their reaction is fear and hate, you don't see it that way because you're a child of the Most High God. You know that there's a purpose for this. You know that you're here to encourage people, you to live by example. You know that. Why? Because it's there. They're all over the Bible. They're all over all spiritual books. If you really read this metaphysically, if you read it, not the circumstances, but what it's saying, the truth behind the truth behind life, the truth behind the words. That's what the words are saying. That you are meant to rule. You're not meant to be a slave. Thank you so much for being part of my ministry, and thank you for being just you. because I love you guys so much. And that is the truth. And the truth shall make you free. So I'll go over the 3 steps. So what? No matter what's in front of you, no matter what limitations you believe you have, right? It shouldn't stop you. It doesn't stop you. Don't let it stop you, right? Don't let anything stop you. And 2, who's God? When the voices are in your head, the negative voices, they're your mother or they're your father or they're people or bullies or people that don't love you and they're saying these horrible things and you let them get in there until you can repeat them even when they leave. Remember who's God, whose voice is that, and who is the voice that tells you that you are magnificent and you are loved and you are precious and you are special and you are intelligent and beautiful. And who's the voice of God? Who's God? That's the 2nd verse. And then the 3rd one is no matter what's going on, no matter what's in front of you, first stay in the moment because you're not going to get anywhere living in the past of regret or tomorrow in fear. That if you are present, you can walk through any single thing that life throws at you with grace, with love, knowing that this is all part of it.